Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Backroom Crew podcast slash review of Captain America Civil War. With you today is DB
And Wesley.
Yes, Wesley and DB. And we're going to break down the movie for you and, give you our thoughts and everything like that. So, initial response, I thought it was good.
Overall, movie-wise, it was good.
Yes. You know that old saying that the book is always better than the movie? I can't really apply that to this one. Well, in some regards. But I know there was a lot of key factors in the Civil War actual storyline that really progressed it and made it, made it what it is and made it have a lasting impression. It was a lot of surprises in that story. In this movie, it wasn't as many surprises. It almost seemed somewhat predictable.
I agree with that. You definitely had a lot of elements that were thrown into you, exposition that was thrown at you from previous movies, obviously. And they all kind of just led up to, yeah, we see that this is coming. But at the same time, it's Civil War as a comic book. From a comic book standpoint, you kind of already knew what you were walking into when you opened the door to the theater. It's just when you're going into a story with so many different elements, you have to, as a filmmaker, you have to condense that down to what people can actually perceive and understand. And I get that. There were a lot of elements in there that were even missing from, what happened in the comics. I mean, yeah, airport scene was pretty funny, but it wasn't there were a lot of other characters introduced in Civil War. There was a lot of other...
There were massive amount of characters. Pretty much it was other than, the mutants, it was the whole Marvel universe.
Right.
So...
Because it affected everybody, including the minor characters, including the more knowns. It's I don't know, as per what it was a good movie. It was entertaining, as a Captain America movie.
The only thing I think, one of the things that I had a gripe about, it seemed like Spider-Man was a plot device. He was brought in strictly to introduce him, and he didn't really have any other say in it. He was just a kid out of Queens. He didn't really know anyone there except, Tony. Considering that was a big risk on Tony, no one really even thought about that, because it was you brought in a 16-year-old kid to fight this battle. He's used to beating up thugs and, criminals in New York or whatever like that, but you brought him in to fight this battle against these individuals that have superpowers and everything like that. You don't know what's going to happen to him. It's how are you going to explain that to his aunt? It's hey, I took your nephew to...
As per the conditions of the grant, he had to pursue a career in crime fighting on an escalated scale with super mutants and powerful people. Sorry, he lost his life.
Yeah, exactly.
In the eyes of an angel.
But no, I guess just to get that out there, to get the what you didn't like about it or whatnot. Pacing seemed fast at first, but then it seemed to slow down.
Yeah, but again, you had to get your story element, and wow, it was just... I would have rather them gone a different route altogether with the movie, instead of having it pertaining to the World Conference and the little Concord that they had to sign and all of that. Rather, no, that was a major point. I'm sorry. When you take it, I would have taken it so much away from just the conflict that was presented. Make it seem like it's really affecting the people, the other enhanced people, or the gifted people, or the mutants, or whatever. Make it more rooted into... I would have made it a Marvel Civil War rather than a Captain America Civil War, is what I'm saying. And that's what it was.
I mean, yeah, essentially. But even so, they didn't really have every Marvel property involved in it. You know, they still don't know about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They still don't know about Coulson. They don't even know he's alive. They don't know about Jessica Jones or Luke Cage.
But then again, they had to be introduced at some
Or
point because
Daredevil.
they were in the Avengers at one point too.
Yeah, they were. I was seeing something about the reasons why they picked Spider-Man over Daredevil.
Yeah, and
which I didn't look up. I didn't get a chance to read into yet. But
look at the threat scale, though. I mean, what would Daredevil have done?
I think he could have handled Natasha.
Yeah, and no one else. I mean, what would he have done?
I mean,
against
I
Vision?
forgot. No, Natasha was on this thing.
Yeah.
So, well, no, I don't think Daredevil would have joined Tony.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have joined Tony. He would have.
Yeah, because he's more of a street kind of guy, wanting to handle the law in a, I don't know, because he likes to follow the law.
I mean, in the original, he didn't get along with Tony. Like in the original, he went against Tony. So
yeah,
and he was arrested for it. So yeah, but to go past that, what were some of the good things you liked about it?
Oh, there were a lot of good things. I mean, the characters themselves were brought out pretty well.
Oh yeah. Everybody says that it was between Spider-Man and Black Panther. I think Spider-Man stole the show for me.
As per who would have stolen the show, Spider-Man definitely did bring in the heat.
Yes.
Now, it just depends because also Spider-Man is known for his quirky, jokey.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's what really got a lot of audience members engaged. But at the same time, you know, if you were looking for the more serious superhero to come out, like the one who was just like, he was just there. I mean, I would have gone with Black Panther easily.
Oh yeah. He was more driven. I mean, he had a purpose.
Right.
Like,
Instead
being
of
an Avenger, revenging.
Instead of, Spider-Man and his weird Grant.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what Spider-Man's supposed to be awkward, that kind of geeky teenager that is like that, you know? So I can see that fit for him. Is he the definitive Spider-Man? I got to see more. I'm not going to jump the gun and say he's the best Spider-Man. He did a very good job.
Yeah.
It's like they took elements of what the Amazing Spider-Man had with the quirkiness and always talking and everything, and they added that to this. And I haven't seen that heroic side yet like he had with the regular Spider-Man series.
Well,
I can't say he's the definitive. A lot of people are saying he's the best Spider-Man ever, and it's just like, come on. He had like what, 2 scenes,
and that's what I'm saying.
Like 2 major scenes in the movie.
Yeah, he wasn't really. I mean, as a character, he was developed really well. It's just that you didn't have a chance to see anything else outside of him just getting into a reactive battle against other superheroes. This isn't a conflict scenario where he had to go and try to save Aunt May because Captain America was holding her hostage and was like, you're gonna go to my side or else, or whatever.
Why would he do that?
Exactly, but you didn't get a chance to see any of that. But that would have been hilarious. Not hilarious, that would have been kind of dark, a little bit too dark for Avengers. But anyway, it's like, I see all of that, how, you would be all fanboying over, this new Spidey, but at the same time, the last actor who did the Spider-Man movie was really good also.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield.
Right. And you can't dismiss that, especially seeing as though you haven't seen anything yet from this one.
Right.
Other than that, all the other characters were, kind of already there. I like how they brought back Hawkeye. That was funny.
Oh, yeah. He came back. I think he came back at just the right time, and pretty much he came at a good position.
But he just hated being there, and you could just tell it.
He was like that old, like, gristled cop or whatever. Like, I'm getting too old for this shit. It's like, got gristle and everything like that, smoking a pack every day.
Oh, my kids are gonna hate me now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, shoot, he can't. I mean, he's got it the worst because he can probably not even go home.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're gonna be looking there for him first.
Yeah, and that's kind of a conflict that I would like to see develop too, like him morally with his decision of trying to stay with them, with the Avengers, and then trying to balance that out with his family. You know, because not everybody in the Avengers has a family. Actually, none of them except for him. So I don't know. It just seems like that would be an interesting thing to touch up on the next movie too.
Yeah, but the next movie is gonna be Infinity War, and I don't know. I feel like there should be a movie in between to really, I guess, see. Because it seems like this movie, when I was talking to you about it before, this movie is essentially, it's Avengers 2.5. Mm-hmm. So it helps with the story and whatnot. But then you got Doctor Strange coming up, and then you've got Black Panther. I mean, are they going to make Black Panther movie for him himself? Or are they going to end up making that a bridgeway into, are they going to make that like a Secret Avengers team and bridge it into Infinity War? Because, I mean, I think that would do a disservice to Black Panther.
Yeah, it kind of would.
At
the same time, it's like you get tired of origin stories. Not everybody wants to go and read the comics. I get it. But the conflicts that they have going on now, it's like that is good conflict. That is something that you could really put into. Even if it was just like what they had going on with the Concord and all of the signings and, the side that he chose, like, even if you brought that conflict into a Black Panther movie, it still could be a Black Panther movie. It still could be him handling the situation, the aftermath, the fallout of what happened with, everything that went on. So I would be down for that,
Possibility.
It's just that he would have to show face more so than any of the other characters that might pop up,
I mean, he's not going to show face, but you put him against Captain America. I have to say, and that was one of the things I'll bring up, but I mean, you put him against Captain America. If Captain America's even in it, it's like Captain America's going to kind of steal the show away a little bit. But then again,
well, he wouldn't even need to be in it. I mean, because the only tie that Black Panther has to Captain America right now is Bucky. And that's because of what happened with him and putting him in that little cryogenic chamber. Yeah. And I mean, although he's a man of his word. He's not just going to be like, Cap, I need help over here. And plus, the resources, the strength that he has alone. I mean, it would just be a little overkill to call Captain America in to solve a problem that he could easily solve. True. Well, I wouldn't say easily, but he could solve.
True. Yeah, I wanted to bring up the whole. One of the best parts I liked about the movie was the relationship with Cap and Bucky. I really appreciated that. Like the way they brought that into, them being friends and them looking out, having each other's back with not even that many words. It was just like an unspoken thing. It's like some of the stuff in the trailers, they were like, that whole part where he was like, I'm sorry about this, Tony, but, he's my friend. And, so was I. They shortened that down, which I don't hate that they did that because it was a lot of like, unspoken things with them, which I guess I can relate to that. If I were to say a couple of things to like some of my best friends, you just have that unspoken thing about or whatever. It's like, yeah, y'all go y'all separate ways for a while. He may do some illegal stuff, kill some people, and I may like get frozen and everything like that. But when we come back together, we gonna wreck shit up. That's what we do. And it's like we already know. It's like we look at each other across the room, just like, yo,
let's do it.
We already on it, man. Already on it.
What kind of friends you got?
I've got the best kind of friends.
Got them gangsters.
The best kind of friends. But yeah, another thing I'm mixed between Tony. It's like I've been Team Iron Man. I mean, not Team Iron Man. Team Cap. I was Team Cap the whole time, but I feel like Iron Man at the end just kind of lost it, and I understand why. But in the beginning, it's the whole thing with like Batman versus Superman. If they would have just took the time to talk, maybe a lot of this would happen.
Yeah. I mean, that everybody feels like talking though, and especially with something like a secret that Captain was holding. How can you really relay that without him going off at the handle and trying to do exactly what he tried to do at the end of the movie? I mean, and plus a lot of this too, it wasn't like they had the chance to all just all sit down and be like, yeah, this, that, and the other. It was a lot of reaction. I mean, they had to be quick on it. If they didn't sign the thing or they didn't, pick what they were going to do, this was going to happen. So
that's why I was saying a lot of it seemed fast paced.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I said before, it was like they combined elements of Winter Soldier, Agents of Ultron, and then elements of Batman versus Superman.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like they combined elements of that all together, because I don't know, it seemed like a lot of Captain America's movies, they start off the same way. It's like, or even Avengers, the Captain America movies, they start off big fight scene, bring you in just to the action, like fighting or whatever, and then it goes into the exposition, and then fight.
I definitely was feeling the whole espionage Jason Bourne kind of feel in the beginning when they did the heist thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that was cool though. I mean, I got it. It's just, you don't want to bore an audience. As a filmmaker, you want to make sure that you want to bring them in so they don't end up like, oh, what did I just spend $8, $10 on,
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's storytelling, but come on, give me something. I'm falling asleep here. So, I mean, but then again, a lot of people do appreciate the slow burn, Andre. And you got to be able to accommodate that too. And I like what they did with the balance of exposition and action and, all of that. They meshed it in a way that it wasn't so much slow and then, oh, okay, this is just too fast paced for me. I got a headache, So good on them for that.
Okay, yeah. I have to say that one of the key points I liked in it was I liked the airport scene. The airport fight, that was really good. That was probably the fight scene that you would want to see in a movie like that, You want to see like everybody like they do the individuals like me versus you, but then they also like help each other and get in shots and do team ups and stuff like that. It seemed like Cap's team was a little bit more organized with that, and they seemed to work together more, even though some of them never even met.
Yeah.
But it seemed like they clicked together a lot better. Thing I didn't like, and this is probably the same problem with a lot of their villains, is he's not even Baron Zemo, he's Zemo. I understand what they did for him, making him have like more of a personal connection with this, and making it not just I'm a Nazi who wants to destroy, Captain America, kill Captain America, whatever. I'm someone who wants to destroy the Avengers because of what they did to me. Make it more personal. But I mean, the thing is, you made it personal with Crossbones, and what you do in this movie? Boom.
Yeah.
And it's like, you made it personal with Crossbones, and you brought him back, and it's like, boom. Like, come on, guys. I understand, yeah, you probably couldn't really keep him around because he was going to end up probably... No, you could have kept him around. Now I think about it, he could have.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, a lot of when you're dealing with movies like this, people or villains in general, you don't want the screen to get too crowded. At the same time, you don't have to completely eliminate a villain just to bring on another one. In most cases, I would like to see elements where they had no other choice but to keep the villain on, and then with the fact that they couldn't get rid of this villain went and made a posse of their own, and ultimately ended up getting with this other villain, causing more havoc. Now you bring in Spider-Man, like the third one from the Tobey Maguire series, and I mean that didn't really correlate too well because it was just too much going on.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it was still something that you could believe would happen. There's more people in this world than just the Avengers, and not every villain can handle a threat like that on their own.
Yeah, I mean, heck, villains in comic books get together all the time and form teams and everything like that. So it's like, why not do it for the movies? I mean, heck, you could have that being like one of the major things in Infinity War 1, and then by Infinity War 2, Thanos, big guy, comes out, and if they would have did it like this, if they would have saved a lot of villains and had it like villains, the big battle villains versus the Avengers, Infinity War Part 1, and everything like that, and then Thanos comes down, sees all the fighting, and he's just like, oh, I got all my Infinity Gems, time to take over your world. And then it's like they all have to band together to fight against him. Villains, heroes. I would appreciate that, because it's like, okay, it means something. But I guess also that's a little bit too predictable. It's like one of those things like, oh, I guess the villains and heroes got to work together to save this bigger threat because, enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yeah. It's like no one's taking over the world except for me. But,
A character that kind of surprised me in this though was Vision.
Yeah, he did. I
like his character all around because, I mean, he's so down and simple, and it's like he's so chill. He doesn't need to be extra when time comes, and he's like that ultimate. Again, well, as in Ross's example, Nuke. He's kind of like the team's Nuke there. You can't mess with him, really. Mm-hmm. And when he was fighting Hawkeye, that was funny because all he was doing was just like trying to, get him to stop.
Yeah.
And when Hawkeye was just like punching him and it was like not effective at all, it was just like, well, Jesus, what can you do with this guy? I don't know. I just like that because then outside of that, he's just like trying to learn how to be a being, like trying to cook and like, trying to figure out stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool.
I wonder, does he have taste buds?
Right? And you would ask that.
Does he have taste buds? Because, I mean, how would he be able to cook without taste buds? So, man. Yeah, I did like Vision in it.
Really methodical, too. Yeah. Or he has that element, like he could be.
Yeah. It's like with Natasha, I kind of knew what she was going to do.
Yeah.
By that end of it, I knew she was going to do that. With T'Challa, that yet again was like seemed like it was a better done version of, it seemed like it was a quicker but a better done version of Batman vs Superman, Senate blowing up.
Yeah.
It's, Batman vs Superman, it led you in better, but it just like dropped off.
Yeah.
This one, it seemed like it led you in simply. It didn't seem like it was a lot of stuff behind it to lead you in or whatever. And then it built up better. It like had a good follow up with it. So I don't know. I feel indifferent about that. I kind of like it and kind of not. But it's like you knew Black Panther was going to try to get revenge.
Of course.
Yeah, you knew he was going to try to get revenge.
Killed my dad.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's like, I don't care what the UN says if UN tries to stop me or whatever. It's like, this is street justice.
I know, right?
This is Wakanda justice.
He was just like,
and he was like,
on it too. He was
the way he said his father was or whatever, and he says, I'm not my father.
Yep. I was like, there you go.
It's going down. But yeah. So let's see. Was there anything else you think you can say? Cinematography, yet again, on point. You know, I like Black Panther's fighting style. They gave him a more primal kind of fighting style.
Yeah,
which was good. I think Wanda's developing to her powers a little better, but she's got to control them a little bit more.
And that was the inexperience I think they wanted to show off on camera.
Yeah.
But at the same time, taking out Vision was a really huge feat in itself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like separating his connection to the gym and then using it to cause him to fall into the earth and stuff. That was all right.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. But anything else you add to it?
Elizabeth Olsen altogether as a female actress though.
She's a good actress. I could tell when her accent was coming in and out though.
Yeah, a little.
It was kind of coming in and out at points. I mean, she had more lines than Black Panther, so you could definitely tell. I don't think Black Panther's accent. I can't remember at points where it really broke.
No, I mean it was solid for him.
Yeah,
he kind of held that really well.
Yeah, especially he's an American actor, so
yeah.
So he held that really well, but I guess because her lines seemed different and probably had a little bit more than what she had in Age of Ultron, it seemed like they were breaking a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, speaking as per her and just overall interaction with the other characters. I mean, she did deliver a Scarlet Witch for me. It's just that, again, everybody needs to, that's in the acting pool, they trying to get these roles. Stick with it, stay in your classes, make sure that you get yourself together vocally and mentally, because then you won't really lose it while you're on film, When the cameras are rolling, it's a different scene, believe me, I know. And when it's rolling and you're standing up there and, you got to say all these lines and you got to use your dialogue and all that, it can be taxing, And that's what a lot of people need to realize, too, when they're critiquing these films, just not to hurt anybody's feelings like that. It's a tough business, But, as far as how everybody looked, as far as the costumes, as far as the acting, it was a solid movie. I can dig it. I don't know about X-Men Apocalypse.
But I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I can dig it.
I haven't seen it yet, so we can't say anything about that. But yeah, I agree with you. Costumes, visually, everything like that, and that that CGI young Robert Downey Jr.
That was hilarious. But I'm glad they didn't stick with it too much. I could understand it.
Yeah, and at first when I was seeing it, I was like, wait a second. How come they didn't do like a flat, they were doing it, and I told you I commented about it. It was like, are they going to announce everywhere that they go in big, bold, white letters? And it's like...
Well, they did that.
But they didn't do it for Tony, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Why didn't they do it for that? And I was like, oh, okay.
And again, I could understand it because it was like, it was just a hologram. I mean, obviously you would expect to see CGI in a hologram, so... that was completely okay. Like, if they would have tried to do it really, like, as a real flashback, then yeah. And that was actually a really good way to do a flashback. I mean, integrate the flashback into a character's ability, that was really good. Because everybody keeps trying to find different ways to give backstory, exposition, and they always default to flashbacks. But they didn't need to do that in Tony's case, and so, that moment really shined for that.
Yeah, because the way that they did it, applying it with technology, and it's like, hey, we can apply this technology because that's what Tony does. He does technology, so let's just make some type of new kind of made-up tech that shows this flashback or whatever. And it played really, really well because it lets you know, like, even when I saw the car or whatnot, I was like, when I saw the car and they were going down the road and, Bucky, got the stuff out the trunk, it's like, I kind of got a feeling that that's his parents.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that that is his parents. And it's like, lo and behold, yeah, it turned out to be.
That reveal, though, that kind of did bring you in. Like, when he first saw the tape and he was like, I know that road. I know that road. What is this? I was like, oh, it's not. It's about to go down. It's about to go down.
And it's like, at that point, he didn't want to talk. He didn't want to listen.
Yeah.
He was just like, I'm done. Like,
I mean, what could you say at that point? You just,
Tony he wasn't that, I don't think he was that worried about his dad, but his mom.
Yeah, because he mentioned his mom.
Yeah.
Other than, he didn't say my parents or my mom and dad. He was like, you killed my mom. Yeah. It was just like, all right.
And it's like, okay, and I guess I have to compare this a little bit with Batman vs Superman, and the whole, he killed his mom and everything, and his parents. I guess it means something because it means something exactly because it's his parents. And then Batman vs Superman, they had that connection with it being the mom.
Yeah.
The only thing with that, I feel like the execution with Batman vs Superman, they kind of, that was a good point. That was a good a point you would never have guessed. Hey, mom's both Martha, and he felt like he had to save her. They didn't really seem to explain themselves with that, and I like how they did that with this. It's more explanation. See, essentially, a lot of this stuff with both movies, very similar. It's just they seem to explain it better with this movie.
Yeah, I mean, chuck it up to Marvel for actually digging into their characters' backstories.
Oh yeah.
They were really good on that front. And I mean, you say Batman vs Superman, they have their backstories.
I think the major problem, like I said, I think with them is editing. They couldn't edit it right to get it in there, and time.
Not even just time. I mean, if you're talking about with their backstory as DC backstories opposed to Marvel background, backstories or whatever, DC doesn't spend too much time in their backstories anyway. I mean, yeah, you'll have your instances in the comics where they're mentioned.
Like I said, they haven't had any backstories.
Yeah.
Well, they do have a whole comic origins, which is dedicated to explaining the backstories of characters.
Right.
They did that with the New 52.
Yeah.
But they don't have their movies. They haven't really done origin movies yet. It's like Wonder Woman is going to be the first true origin movie. Well, no, I take that back. Man of Steel was an origin movie.
I was about to say.
So yeah, this is also going to be an origin movie. I doubt Aquaman is going to be an origin movie. It's probably going to reference his origins, and same thing with Flash.
But I mean, I'm not talking about just cinematography universe or the cinema universe. I'm talking about just brass tacks, their stories altogether. They have their backstories, but Marvel has a tendency to continuously lead you into their characters' backstories and development, as opposed to DC and their escalating threats.
I kind of have to disagree because it's like you don't ever hear reference to that many Marvel's characters' backstories nowadays. It's like you always hear reference to, Krypton or, Joe Chill.
Oh, yeah,
you always hear reference to them. It's like, heck, a story next week or whatever could be referenced. Hey, this is Joe Chill. I mean, heck, they're about to release Joker's real name.
Are they?
Yeah, they are. But let's not get into that. That's something totally different. Let's go back to this. Overall, what would you give it for a scale?
Overall, I would have to say they're hitting it out of the park with at least an 8.5 for me on a 1 to 10. I would say an 8.5. I mean, you can't give a movie, a huge unless you're just being, out there. I mean, 8.5 is extremely generous. I mean, obviously, you're going to run into problems and conflicts and things that don't really fit. Again, I would have loved to have seen them bring in the universe of Marvel as opposed to just the Avengers and their little conflict. Because that's not exactly what Civil War was.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, but as far as what it looked like, as far as the sounds, the power struggles, the the conflicts between each of the characters, yeah, I definitely would give it around an 8.5 for me.
I would have to give it a 9, only because this movie could have been called something else.
Yeah.
And it would have still sold like crazy. It would still did good. I think off the name alone, that's how they were able to pull more people in. And, now they're going to get people to look up the old Civil War. They got Civil War 2 in the comics, so they're going to get people to look into that. And it's all a marketing thing or whatnot. They marketed Civil War. They could have called it something else. I don't know exactly what, but they could have called it something else and it would have done just fine. It's like you could have basically made this Captain America Cap versus Iron Man. Cap beat Iron Man.
Yeah.
You could have made this Cap beat Iron Man and then make Batman beat Superman. You could have made that world's finest.
Yeah.
You could have did like a swap with the names and it would have been okay. But I see why they chose that.
You know what I don't like though?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, obviously he doesn't really pull that much of as much weight as Superman or Batman have. Spider-Man. Wasn't Spider-Man the first? The first character.
First what character?
The first comic book character for Marvel.
No.
Who was the first?
It was Captain America.
Was it Captain America?
Yeah. It's like, I believe it was Captain America.
They
didn't add Spider-Man until like the 60s.
Yeah, that's where I was getting confused. I thought it was sometime like before.
Yeah, okay. He wasn't even the first Avenger.
Right. No. I was just wondering because he was back in the 60s. You're right. I was wondering because you lead with Captain America and Iron Man, but the pool, again, the pool is larger. And I don't know, I think they're just going to be stuck on Avengers for a while, like their interactions. And even though you might have another Captain America movie or another Iron Man movie or whatever, slated for whatever time.
Well, Avengers is the big team-up movie for them. That's what they're going to be calling it from now on.
Yeah, that's what
Okay, so, this has been DB from Back on Crew and Wesley. And this has been our review for the Captain America Civil War movie. If you like this, then give us a like, comment, share, thumbs up, all that good stuff. And we will see you guys next time. Remember, social class, act like you've been somewhere before. Peace.
And go see the movie.
Yes, go see the movie, make your own judgment. Still good, though.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yes.
Later.